Hey everybody, I hope you're well. I just wanted to do a little video today. A lot of you came to the card class that we had with the Altenew stamp, and a few of you have said to me that you haven't pulled your stamps out again, and that is mainly because you found them quite tricky to use. And that kind of bothered me because I thought, you paid a lot of money for these stamps and I don't want them to sit in your stash. I want you to use them and to enjoy them. That being said, this probably was one of the trickier stamps, the layering stamps to use. A lot of the other ones are a lot easier, but I just wanted to pop on and share with you just a couple of tips and tricks that I use that help me. They may not help you, but it helps me. So if that encourages you to put your stamp set out and use it, yeah, that'd be really good. So here is a couple that I've done. I've only done the blossom part of it because this part here I think is relatively easy to line up. And again, here it is without the outline image. There's another one there as well. Okay, so the first thing I've done is on the back of your packet, you'll find a layering guide. Now this isn't to scale, it's only 60%. So for me, this is a bit tricky to see. So the first thing I did, what have I done with it? I actually stamped them out on a separate piece of card, and now I've lost it. Is it here? Here it is. So I've stamped them out, the 3 stamps, on a separate piece of card. I've numbered them and I've actually copied where the layering parts are of each stamp, just to give me a better visual guideline. I also use the cover from the die. If you don't have the die, you can use one of the images that came in your pack. But I use the image because this is actually to scale. So you'll see that this is exactly the same size. Right, so that gives you a really good idea. So this gives me an idea on where colours need to sit as well. So I used that. And the other thing I also did was on the back of my stamp, now I don't know if you can see because they're looking a little bit dirty. I've actually placed some little marks with a black outline to help me line up where I'm going to position my stamp. I don't know if you can see that. I'm hoping that's going to focus for you. So that's another little tip as well. The other thing is that this actual stamp is it doesn't need to be perfect. This is like a watercolor look. So if you are slightly out of the lines, it's no big deal. That doesn't bother me at all because that's just part of the look. So don't get too hung up if you're slightly out of the lines. But I just wanted to show you these other little tips that I use just to help me line it up. So what I've done is I've already stamped a couple here. I've had a bit of a play. And again, I stamped up a heap of these while my stamp was on my press. So then when I go to do the layering part, each layering part I do, so I do stamp 1, take it out, put this one in, stamp 1, take it out, put it in. So you can actually create a few cards while your stamps are all in position. So that will also help you get the feel of where your stamps are going to sit. Okay, so first tip is that while this is black and just an outline, sometimes it's actually easier to stamp your last stamp first because you've got something to line it up against. So I've got my layering guide here to give me an idea. I've got a couple of marks here as well to line up. Now, this little bit here is going to line up in this petal here. So that's the first place that I go for. I've marked here where those 2 lines join. And you can just see how this piece here just kind of nestles in. Now, can you see where some of the lines, let me see if I can lift that up. Some of the lines on the stamped image are lining up with the impression on the stamp. So that's giving me a bit of a guideline. Again, like I said, it's just a guideline. It doesn't matter if it's slightly off. Right, so I'm going to stamp that first. And because that's our last layer, I'm going to stamp in my darkest colour. And you can also see, once you get over the top of your stamp, sorry, grey hairs again, you can see if you're slightly off at all. So if you feel like you're slightly off, take it back up, clean your stamp up and reposition it again. But I think for me, this looks good enough. Remember, there's beauty in imperfection. It doesn't need to be spot on. Another tip as well, you don't need to push down on your stamp press. All we're trying to do is transfer the ink to the paper. You keep pushing and all that does is flatten your stamp and squishes your stamp out so you don't get a nice impression. So just give it time to transfer to the paper. There we go. So that is your first one done. Because this is the darkest one and we're doing it first, other colour's going to be laid over the top. I'm going to give this another going over. Oops, coffee time, it's going cold. And I think I might even go one more time, just because we've got those 2 more layers to go over the top. Okay, right, from there, I'm then going to go back to my number 1 stamp. And the reason that I'm doing that is because once I do the number 1, it's much easier to line up your second layer over the top of that. This one is really easy to line up. So we have our guide here as to where this is going to be positioned. This one here sits perfectly over the top. Sorry, girls. Okay. So because this is our first layer, we're going to lay it up with the lightest colour. And again, I'm just tapping at my stamp. I'm not pushing hard on it. It just needs a little bit of ink. And again, you can see that that's all in the right spot before you even push. So if it's not in the right spot, flip your Misty door open and have another go at lining it up. There we go. I'm going to give it one more. So you'll find that this looks quite mottled, but that's just because the ink hasn't dried and settled into the paper yet. So there is your second layer. So now we're going to do the second layer. And again, we've got our guide here to show us where we're aiming for. So this part here is going to line up with this part of the stamp, because that's what this layering guide is telling us. Okay. Feels a bit gritty on the back. Okay. Okay, so we're going to line that up there. So I'm lining this bit up with this petal, and then I want to line up this bottom part here with this bottom petal. Sorry ladies, heads again. Okay, let's see how we go. So now we want our second colour. Is that the right one? Just check. Yep. So this is the spring bouquet set that comes with the green ones. Okay. Now again, I'm going to get over the top just to make sure I'm in the right spot. And I think it looks pretty good. There we go. I'm just going to ink that up again. There we go, that's our stamp. So you can still see the darker images here. If you wanted to, you could layer over the top again. You could come back with this one because now you can see exactly where you've got a stamp. Layer that up again and have another go. I'm not going to because I think it's fine as it is. Then it's just a case of your leaves, layering up your leaves. I won't stamp this on camera because I think this is relatively simple. So we're going to line this one up. You can see this one lines up perfectly over the top. You just want to wriggle it until you get everything in place. You're going to stamp that one. The next one, once that's been stamped, is your other leaf. So again, this just lines up over the top. There we go. So that's just a few tips for how to use that layering stamp that we had in class. Pull them out, mark your stamps, see how you go with that. It may actually even be an idea, and this is just something that's come to me now, perhaps if we stamp on the top of our stamp with another stamp so we can actually see straight through. That's another idea too. But I hope these work for you. I generally don't have much trouble lining them up without doing all that, but I really wanted you girls to be able to use your products. So pull them out, have a go, make some cards, and let me have a look. Okay, see you ladies. Take care. Bye.